Hi, readers. This week, I am so thrilled to share the project that we are going to be working on that will be due this Friday. It is a digital read aloud project. Now, so many of you love to be read to, and when we read Home of the Brave, I know this was true. And so many students, they love this as well, especially younger kids. So I was thinking this week, we could come up with a really special project that we could help the HHK community with. And we could create a digital read aloud project where we amass read alouds from all across the grade, and we each read our favorite book and we record it so that teachers in Hohokus can use it with their students. So each day, I'm going to be walking you through this project step by step on how to create a digital read aloud. Okay, so like I said, you'll be creating these digital read alouds for the Hokus School primary teachers, and they will be able to use these read alouds with their students over the next few weeks of digital learning at home. Okay, so today's portion of the project is to choose a favorite childhood book that you would like to create a digital read aloud with. And you're going to begin practicing to read it aloud with fluency. Now, what does that mean, fluency? So fluency means that you're reading with expression, that you're reading in a way that it sounds like the characters are coming to life, right? You know, like a lot of kids will say, when you read a book fluently, it's almost like you sound like a teacher, right? You make the characters come to life. So I have a few suggestions for you on how to read with fluency. So the first one is here, read with expression. Think what's happening now in the story, how does the character feel, and how can your voice match that? Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like in my digital read aloud that I created. And I chose this book called Stand Tall, Molly Lou Mellon. It's one of my daughter's favorite books. They love this story. And you're going to see that I chose this book and we've put all of the pages on a Google Slides presentation, right? And you can also see that there's a little audio recording in each corner. That's going to be your voice, okay? So this is what the finished product is going to look like. But like I said, today, all I want you doing is choosing your story and practicing to read it fluently. So I'm going to pick a page where I think, oh, here we go. This page is a great one. So you know how reading, if you're a fluent reader, it said to think about what's happening in the story, right? And to think about, let me go back here, how does the character feel and how to match your voice. So in this part, you're going to see, like you can already kind of see how the main character, Molly Lou Mellon, she's kind of like feeling very like proud and frisky. And this kid, Ronald, he's like kind of like horrified that this little girl is like making him look foolish. So I'm going to play my voice and you're going to see how I tried to match my voice to how the characters were feeling. Listen to that.
On the third day of school, Ronald Durkin said, "You sound like a sick duck. Honk, honk." Molly Lou Mellon rang out a quack so clear and strong that it made Ronald Durkin somersault backwards, hit his head, and have to go to the nurse. All the children cried with joy to be free of Ronald Durkin for the rest of the afternoon, and Ronald Durkin felt very foolish.
Okay, so you saw how I tried to match my voice with how the characters were feeling, right? So if we go back, we also see that a way to read fluently is to change your voice inside the quotation marks, right? So when we get inside the quotation marks, you're trying to match your voice to the character's voice. And when you're outside the quotes, you slip back into that narrator voice. So you'll hear me do that throughout the read aloud. When I'm just reading, I sound like my normal voice. But when I slip into a character's voice, you hear me try to become that character. So I tried to make the grandma, earlier in the story, she keeps talking about her grandma. And her grandma, what her grandma had told her. So listen to see how I try to create that grandma voice with my voice.
Molly Lou Melon had a voice that sounded like a bullfrog being squeezed by a boa constrictor. She didn't mind. Her grandma had told her, "Sing out clear and strong, and the world will cry tears of joy."
So you heard me try to sound like an old Southern woman, right? So I tried to make my voice sound like that whenever the grandma was talking. Okay, so those are two of the major ways that you can really practice becoming a fluent reader of your chosen picture book. And like I said, pick a book that was a favorite book of yours when you were little. I'm sure that you still have a copy. And if any of you are having problems getting a copy of a book, I'm sure that you could contact me and I could help you find it, okay? I've also included some of the learning progressions on fluency here. So this is a fiction one and this is a nonfiction. If we click on our fiction one, this is what will come up. And if we look right here, fluency, it'll say what a third grader, a fourth grader, and a fifth grader does with their fluency. So a fifth grader pays attention to what's happening in the story and makes sure their voice reflects the mood of the scene, the emotions of the characters, and the kind of people they are. So slowing down when it gets scary. And you can do this with both prose and poetry, okay? We also look at fluency in terms of punctuation. So this is really important. We've talked a lot this year about how when you get to a comma, that's the writer's way of telling you to pause. So let's look and see what they say about punctuation. Usually punctuation just gives me subtle signals as to how to read, but sometimes it's used in unusual ways. In which case I ask, how does the author probably want this part to sound? Also, when reading complex sentences, I adjust my voice to show that some parts of the sentence, like this part, are meant as small additions, right? So we look at parentheses and we look at commas as ways to pause and think, did the writer want me to read this in a special way? And you're going to want to try it out in different ways, okay? So readers, today is a really fun day. It's a day where you're thinking about your favorite books, a book that you'd want to share with the HHK community, because it's really important to be giving back, even in this time, right, where we're home. It's really important to be able to connect with others in meaningful ways. So I'm so proud of the work that you've been doing, and I think this project is going to really be a lot of fun for you guys this week. As always, let me know if you're having any problems with anything, or like I said, if you need a book and you need help finding that book, I will try to help you. Okay, so just be in touch. Have a great day, and I will